This is Frank Goss with SGTV. Like most people, I first came to know Barry through his poetry. Sometime about 10 years ago, my friend Dan Gerber arranged a lunch at the cafe to introduce Barry. Eventually, Dan introduced a lyricist, Will Jennings, and we all had lunch. The four of us had a great time, and monthly lunches followed for the next 10 years, adding a few other poets, singers, wordsmiths, like our friend Paul Farrakano. There were stories and songs and jokes and poems at the center of the dialogue. 4 or 5 years ago, Barry, much to my surprise, offered a few of his paintings to the gallery for our annual holiday exhibit. His first submission was Western Guy, which was clearly a self-portrait. Until that time, I had no idea he had a visual gift as superior as his poetic talent. Clearly, the hallmarks of much of his work were his challenge of conventional observation, his Buddhist view of the world, an unflagging sense of humor, and curiosity about his own definition, called self-portraits. Whether in his poetry or at the lunch table, he was a terrorist when it came to conventional wisdom. Often, from behind a beguiling smile, he would offer a position that would bring the table talk to a halt. We would look to one another, and once we got his message, he would say, "Just kidding." Part of Barry was completely comfortable with the unity of all things, of bliss, of moderation, of awareness. These are all evident in his work. He focused on the simple things, and in them found peace. Though pausing too long on an aphorism would invite his sense of humor, even for those things sacred. At our lunches, he was quick to a pun. He loved the little bits of humor that, for him, saturated parts of life. It is evident throughout his artistic oeuvre. He would land on simple clashes of color and idea. At times, I think he surprised himself with his artistic productions and found salve for some of his creations with wonderful pithy phrasing. His paintings were a combination of colored crayon, collage, script, and humor. He was often at his best when he explored the most complex of his enigmas, Barry Spacks. It was easy to take his self-portraits as a sort of amalgamation of art and poetry. Who else, except Barry, could see this as a resume? He left his smile with all of us. But for those of us who were called the Poetry Boys, he left a mark we will all wear with pride forever. Where so many of us would shrink from self-examination, Barry explored it with his song, his smile, his humor, his words, and an extraordinary gift as an artist.